This is clearly a horrible. Like I'm laughing and I find this funny because I can't believe Sony is actually putting Uncharted 4 on a PC or planning on. I mean, this is just a leak, right? Like this is not necessarily confirmed.
Hey there, kings, what's poppin'? It's me, James of Regret, and if I got a video for you today. It's an older video, granted, but it's still a pretty funny one to laugh at either ways. The video is titled Uncharted 4 Leaked for PC Release. Bad move, PlayStation. And this absolute mess of the guy's thoughts is actually pretty funny to watch. We'll jump right into the video, but before we do, remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, and all that other algorithm BS. Or not, if you don't care about that shit. It's cool to me. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
How's it going, everybody? My name is the Starkz, and welcome to a brand new PlayStation video. Today, I've got some interestingly heavy and upsetting news. Upsetting news to me, at least.
Upsetting? Oh well, I'm certain he has a completely coherent and well thought out reason as to why he is upset about this. Oh, but we are getting ahead of ourselves here.
And that is Sony is seemingly, Sony seemingly leaks Uncharted 4 to be a PC port.
What? That's great news. What about this bit of news is so upsetting?
Now, I'm going to read off of this article from GamesRadar.com, and it states that at long last, it seems an Uncharted 4 port is on the way. That's according to a presentation via PC Gamer Sony published for its Investor Relations Day today, in which one of the slides clearly lists Uncharted 4 as one of the company's planned PC releases. Sony has been open in the past about wanting to bring more of its IPs to PC, supporting one of the PlayStation 4's most popular games from a first-party studio seems like a no-brainer. According to a semi-recent leak, the next PlayStation exclusive in line for PC ports include God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Bloodborne, and the Uncharted collection, Nathan Drake collection to be specific. In case you're curious, none of the other Uncharted games have been confirmed for PC release, so it would seem Sony is paving the way for PC players to start the series with the most recent game, which, by the way, in my opinion, makes zero sense whatsoever.
Oh shit, guys, he's right. This does make no sense. Why wouldn't they start by porting the first Uncharted game to PC? That'd make a whole heap more sense than jumping out straight with the fourth one.
So the article goes on to say that though it's now 5 years old, Uncharted 4 still boasts some of the most impressive visuals out there, so the appeal to PC gamers with high-end graphics cards is obvious. And then they go on to talk about the review, which I'm not interested in reading here for you today. So I just want to get into this and like just straight away, because this is crazy news, crazy to me at least, because
Yeah, it's pretty crazy that Sony wants to expand their market by selling their games to new audiences. It's totally insane and unheard of. This definitely didn't happen like last year. It's absolutely insane for Sony to port a popular and beloved game like Uncharted.
this is Uncharted. This, is a really beloved series among the PlayStation community, and obviously it's a very successful series which has generated millions of money for PlayStation.
And they want to generate even more millions of money without having to start a whole new development project from the ground up. It's honestly damn smart.
And obviously Naughty Dog being the developers of this IP. And I just want to get into why I think this is bad. I think that this recent onslaught of destruction that Sony has been perpetuating in their Californian headquarters, and all these executives are really showcasing this display of greediness and money-hungry ideologies and methods that they seem to have for this new business model, and I don't agree with it whatsoever.
Greedy? Porting over the game to an entirely new audience that otherwise would never have played it is greedy? How does that work? Wouldn't it be more greedy to keep the game on a single platform where other people who didn't have that platform would have to fork over several $100 just to buy a console so that they can play that game? Moving on to his questions about their change in policy and business strategy, I personally speculate this. The growth that Sony saw with the PS4 is either actually petering and slowing down, or projected to do so. Again, this is all speculation because I can't be bothered to check out Sony's quarterly reports. But if this was true, and I want someone in the comments here to correct me on the likely chance that I'm wrong, But if this was true, then Sony would want a new long-term strategy if they want to maintain high levels of growth. What Sony has then probably seen is that Xbox was making bank, porting all of their games over to PC, and decided that they want in on a piece of that pie. Honestly, I don't blame them. The PC market has been untouched by PlayStation and Xbox for so long, it must be like discovering gasoline after decades, if not centuries, of running on coal.
And before I get a lot of hate comments and people responding with like, oh, you're a fanboy, cut the buzzword crap, because let's be real here. It's not a fanboy to disagree with what a company that I've been a consumer for the last for a long time now. It's not a fanboy of me to disagree with what they're doing, to disagree with their business model, and to disagree with them putting a game like Uncharted 4 for the PC market.
Fanboy is not a buzzword, because calling fanboys like this guy a fanboy will never go out of style, because it'll always remain entertaining to laugh at people who base their entire personality around one or two things that they obsess over. Additionally, someone can be a PlayStation fanboy without being a fanboy of the company itself. There's a degree of separation between the culture cultivated around the console and the company itself, that he is obsessive enough to rag on Sony for not keeping exclusives to his favorite plastic box is a sign enough that he's a fanboy.
And you can have a disagreement with me, but don't call me insane, mental illness, and a fanboy for having this opinion. I think it's an honest opinion, and that is I don't think that Sony's making the right call here.
I mean, he's literally throwing a hissy fit, complete with an incoherent and contradictory argument as to why his precious exclusives should remain in his preferred plastic box, because he doesn't like it that other people get to play the games on the platform of their own choice.
I think it's very greedy of them, and I think it's obviously money driven, and that's cool. Yeah, it's a corporation. I get it. It's a company. They need to make money. I understand. Well, they don't need to. They've garnered billions of dollars since the inception of PlayStation back in the 90s. Okay, like they've have so much money and have made so much money. And
you can't make this up, guys. This guy's actually trying to tell Sony, a for-profit entity, that they shouldn't make a profit. That sentence alone should already tell you everything you need to know about this guy's state of mind.
And for them to kind of, take this approach, which, I mean, obviously Xbox, a lot of the quote-unquote exclusive Xbox games go on PC. I mean, it's owned by the same company, Microsoft. So that's understandable. But for Sony to take this very odd switch approach really shows them trying to compete with Xbox. And maybe that's because it's a business model that works for Xbox. Will this work for Sony? Who knows?
Well, we actually do know that the new strategy is working. How? Well, consider this. Someone who wasn't interested in Sony exclusives, such as myself, was persuaded enough by the ridiculously low Indonesian prices to give Horizon Zero Dawn a swing on Steam. Now, while I ended up not enjoying it as much, I guarantee to everyone watching this that there are many, many, many others out there who gave it a swing and ended up enjoying it greatly. The game is resting on a very positive 81% approval rating on Steam. They made well over double their porting costs by May, which is no small feat for a several-year-old game that wasn't even hyped up much for its PC launch. Days Gone has also seen very positive reactions on PC and was top seller for well over a week straight. If that's the reception Sony's going to get for porting their games to PC, they're going to need an even better, an extremely good reason to stop porting games to PC.
And ultimately, yeah, I am a fan. I am a consumer. Not a fanboy, I'm a consumer. I'm not a pony, I'm a consumer of video games.
The guy who's throwing a hissy fit over a game being ported to another platform is not a fanboy. Yeah, right.
I'm using my PC to record this video right now. It's a PC that I built. I play PC games. My first console was an Xbox.
Who cares?
Crack Gamer is one of the most prolific and pathetic ponies out there, and he started out as an Xbox shill. So having an Xbox as your first console means literally nothing.
Okay, I bought an Xbox, the Xbox One back in 2019. Played it for a few months and never touched it again because it's an awful system, and its interface is garbage. But I'm a fan of video games, period. Like I'm not a Sony pony. I haven't been on my PlayStation 4 in over a week.
He's trying to argue here that he's not a pony, but none of his arguments here actually addresses the fact that he acts and behaves like one. Owning a PC and playing games on it, owning an Xbox, which he called trash because of its UI, by the way, a point that lots of ponies use. None of this changes the fact that he threw a hissy fit over Uncharted getting ported like so many other PlayStation fanboys. I mean, well, you know what they say. If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, talks like a duck. Well, I'm sure you know what the rest of the saying is.
So I find it interesting that once you have like a deferring opinion from this like mass majority, you're titled a pony and a fanboy, a Sony pony. You have a mental illness for having an opinion against what this big I don't think it's multi-billion, but multi-million for sure.
Oh shit, guys. He really does have a mental illness if he can't remember what he said not even a few minutes ago.
They've garnered billions of dollars since the inception of PlayStation back in the 90s.
But I digress. This is not his having a differing opinion that gets him labeled as a pony. It's because everything said thus far is in line with what fanboys say. Fanboys flip their shit when a game gets ported from the console they worship to any other platform. Look at Crap Gamer when Quantum Break was announced for PC. Look at all the ponies that were hyping up Death Stranding when that too was announced for PC. It's all like clockwork. They all think the same and as such act the same. Is it so surprising then that when this guy starts acting like a fanboy, he gets called a fanboy?
Dollar company like Sony is taking this very this money-hungry approach in essentially putting a lot of their marketed exclusive games on PlayStation 4 and 5 onto, and I just mean PlayStation 5 you're able to play Uncharted 4, PlayStation 5 because of their backwards compatibility. That's what I mean before anybody misinterprets what I say. But that's essentially what I mean, and it's not wrong to have this opinion. You can disagree with me, but I think Sony is making the wrong call here, ultimately.
What I really want to hear from this guy though is, why is it so bad that Uncharted 4 is getting ported to the PC? Why is it bad that people get to play on other platforms besides the one he simps for? The answer is that there is no logical reason to get big mad over it, and he's just being a fanboy.
Yeah, I don't disagree with people being able to play video games. I don't disagree with more people being able to enjoy video games.
If that were even remotely true, he wouldn't be throwing a fucking hissy fit like this.
I know this one Twitter user, I forget his name, he's irrelevant to me, but he said how, let us enjoy what we want to enjoy. I want to play God of War. I want to play Uncharted 4. I want to play all these different games on PC. Good for you, brother. And I disagree.
This Twitter user that he mentioned sounds infinitely more reasonable and intelligent than this blithering idiot.
I disagree with Sony taking that singular business approach by saying, hey, you want to get more money? This is the way to do it. Obviously, because it works. I mean, obviously.
This guy can't stop contradicting himself. It's actually starting to make me pissed. Earlier he questioned whether or not the strategy will work. Now he's saying that the strategy works. Why won't he make up his mind?
PC gamers have longed, ached and have been hungry for all these exclusive PlayStation games, and now they've given the opportunity to do so.
Not me, certainly. But I would imagine that a significant portion of the PC player base would welcome PS exclusives getting ported, the same way they welcomed Xbox exclusives getting ported and getting released day and date. Which again begs the fucking question. Why is it so bad that Sony wants to port the fucking game?
Will this hurt their Sony's overall score in terms of money? In terms of hardware, absolutely.
What the fuck in God's gracious green fucking earth is that supposed to fucking mean?
It definitely could. I know there's this concept, this interesting ideology where more PC gamers get these games, the more interested they're going to be to buy this PlayStation hardware.
It is honestly the inverse of this. There is a significant amount of PC players out there who don't care about exclusives simply because they can't play it on PC. And that subsection of the PC community is large enough that neither Sony nor Xbox can actually ignore them anymore. If they can't get it on PC, they won't get it at all. These players are unlikely to buy a console to begin with. So while neither Sony nor Xbox will be able to get that section of the market to buy their consoles, porting their games to PC still ensures that Xbox and Sony can squeeze some money out of them. It's honestly very simple logic. I don't know how he does not see this.
Yeah, I'm sure there definitely will be, but will that be a business approach that that works for Sony down the line? Probably not.
It is honestly sad. So sad indeed, seeing this pony try and fire those underused neurons in his head and try to create a convoluted reason as to why Sony shouldn't port these games to PC. His mental state is obviously failing, guys. This is so unfortunate. He must be in quite the pain. For every one like in this video, I'll send one prayer to God, asking him to help this guy realize what a fucking retard he is.
I honestly don't think so. Like, why would me, a PC gamer who's loved this PC market, I love all the games that I get, I'm now being sent all these exclusive, great PlayStation games. Why would I go out of my way to buy hardware for the PlayStation or for Sony? That doesn't really make any sense.
Again, at this point, any PC player who hasn't gotten a console to play these exclusives are unlikely to get a console in the first place. At least now that the games are coming to PC, it opens up the opportunity for these players to play these games in the first place.
And ultimately, Sony has to think of it that way. It's like, well, now no one's going to really be exposed to your hardware. No, this just gives people another narrative to devalue the PlayStation title, to say that it's not as good as they say. It's not as good as if it were running on a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5. Like this.
And we've finally gotten to the true reason why this guy's big mad over PS exclusives getting ported to PC. He's gotten his panties in a twist because people might use this as an opportunity to diss PlayStation and devalue the brand. That's textbook console fanboy behavior. If that's not pathetic, I don't know what is.
This is clearly a horrible. Like, I'm laughing and I find this funny because I can't believe Sony is actually putting Uncharted 4 on a PC or planning on. I mean, this is just a leak. Right, like this is not necessarily confirmed. I believe this was a patent. This was some form of presentation for the investor relations, which was today, obviously, May 26th. And good for Sony. Like if they think that this is gonna give them a lot more money and a lot more exposure, I mean, they're wrong, but.
No, they're right. Just saying that something is wrong doesn't actually make it so. I can say that 2 plus 2 is 5 as much as I want, but at the end of the day, it's still 4. Sony expanding to PC means that more people can play their games without having to deal with all the bullshit that is platform restriction and limitations. How is that not a good thing?
Who knows? It might work in their favor, right?
Oh, trust me, it will work in their favor.
But I'm not mad. I'm not upset. I'm disappointed. Sure, I'm not a Sony pony. Like I said, I haven't been on my PlayStation 4 in over a week. I barely touch it. I'm a hardworking individual who spends a lot of his time, not always, but a lot of my time playing PC video games, right? Like exclusive PC video games.
Who cares?
Would I play those games on my PlayStation 4 console? Hell no, right? Because this is the PC experience. This game was made for PC. The games that I play were made for PC. It's different when they're cross-play. And they are developed for multi-platforms. But Uncharted 4 wasn't developed for multi-platform. Sure, it could be played as a multi-platform, but it was marketed as an exclusive first-party PlayStation video game.
I guarantee you, Uncharted 4 would play even better with a mouse and keyboard. For one, you'll be able to actually aim properly. Also, marketing has jack shit to do with the experience you get playing the game. Ask anyone who got hyped up by the Hunt the Truth campaign for Halo 5 and they'll all tell you how unimportant it was to the actual overall experience.
And for Sony to take this 360 and spin that narrative and say, hey, well, screw that, what we said 5 years ago. Let's put this on PC for everybody to play, right? For all this entire PC market, because we want to generate more money than we already have, because why not, right?
Exactly. Why not? PC players win, Sony wins. It's a good deal all around. The only people mad over this are fanboys like this guy.
There's that missed opportunity. You know, I genuinely do not support what Sony's doing here. And it's not a matter of people not being able to experience these video games. I would love people to experience Uncharted 4 if they were to buy a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 and Uncharted 4 on that console, on that respective console. That is how it's worked for the last 30 years.
And do you know what else happened in those 30 years? People move on and forget the games they don't have access to. People I know who don't want to own a Nintendo console don't care about Nintendo. Same goes for the folks who end up not giving a shit about consoles and by extent, the console exclusives. That's a massive subsection of gaming that they're not making money off of, and it's retarded to assume that no company is going to try and exploit it at one point or another. After all, why limit yourself to one customer base when you can reach more players than ever before?
That's how it's worked, right? This is how it is. Like nobody is batting an eye. Look at what Nintendo's doing. Nobody's disappointed. Nobody's mad at this exclusive model, because that's what works for Nintendo, right? As it has for Xbox and Sony. And so for people to act like this is a great thing. I mean, yeah, sure. For maybe a lot of people in the PC market who unfortunately can't possibly afford to keep up with the consoles or whatnot. I mean, let's be real here. A lot of the PC gamers out there, a lot of the fanatics will say, hey, every 2 years, your PC, your graphics card, and everything else in between is garbage. You need to update it.
I certainly hope he's joking. I've never met a single PC player in my entire life that thinks you absolutely need to upgrade every 2 years. Even Doom Eternal, which came out last year, only asks for a 1066GB for its recommended settings, and that card came out in 2016. A whole 5 years ago. I mean, you could change your parts every other year if you felt like it, but nobody in their right mind does.
It's almost like a phone. Listen, I've had my phone since 2016. I've never updated my phone. I've never bought a new phone. I've had 2-3 cases maybe. I mean, granted, I clean it, but I don't damage my property. Surely it's updated. My battery's drained, and whatnot. And eventually, I'm gonna have to buy a new phone. But that's but
who cares?
The narrative here for a lot of these PC dudes is like, you need to update your shit every 2 years.
It's fucking obvious that he's pulling shit out of his ass. In fact, this part was so egregious, it makes me think that he was straight up lying about building his own PC. Even a pleb like me, who does the bare minimum of research for PC parts, knows that PC parts don't become fucking irrelevant after 2 years. Fuck, man. None of the PC building forums I visited for my research even remotely suggested upgrading every 2 years. Where the fuck did he pull that shit out of from? I'm actually getting upset at this retardation. Fuck.
And yeah, so that narrative where a lot of people on the PC can't afford to buy a console. It's like, well, if you can afford to update your PC, I know for a fact you can afford to buy a $200 PlayStation 4. That's just a fact, right?
It's not a fucking fact, you fucking imbecile. Nobody in their right fucking mind upgrades their PCs every 2 fucking years. That factoid was fabricated out of your fucking ass. And the narrative is usually the opposite. People who buy $300 to $500 consoles buy it because they can't afford or can't justify the purchase of a $600 to $700 PC, when all they want to do is just play games and don't need any of the bells, whistles, and functionalities that a PC has.
So I don't really understand what Sony's doing. I don't agree with Sony. I'm not a fanboy. I'm just voicing my concern about their business model and their practices, their money-hungry practices, and ultimately I disagree. However, I'm extremely interested to hear what you guys all think about Uncharted 4 releasing on PC. Do you agree with it? Do you own Uncharted 4 or PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4? Are you on the PC like I am, recording this video right now for you? Try to keep it civil. Also, any comments saying that I'm a fanboy and all these, like, anything rude, I'm just gonna block. I'm just gonna delete and ban and block, because I don't have the time to entertain these kind of discussions. I want civil discourse, right? Like, we can have a disagreement, but it has to be civil. Of course, thank you so much for watching this video. If you did, leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed. And with that being said, I've been the Starkz. Peace.
Alright then, buddy. Here's my thoughts. It's unlikely for me to go and pick it up, but it's great for the people who want to play it on PC. The only real thing that bothers me is that they're starting with Uncharted 4 and not the first game. Now that part is dumb. But I guess they thought people would be more hyped for the fourth one for some reason. And well, apart from that, there's really no reason for anyone to get mad at a game for being available to more people. And my mans is still in denial that he's a fanboy. As you've seen previously, he's made up all sorts of convoluted reasons to explain why it's alright to be mad at Sony for wanting more people to play their games. All because he thinks this will somehow devalue the PlayStation brand. It's retarded in more ways than one. Anywho, we've finally reached the end of this video. What are your thoughts on the leaks of Uncharted 4 and, well, more Sony exclusives coming to PC in general? I know it's sort of old news at this point, but I'm still curious as to your thoughts on the whole situation. Thanks as always to the kings who bothered to reach this point in the video. Y'all are the best and I hope your crown stays shiny till the end. Again, like, comment, subscribe, share, and all that other good stuff if you feel like it. I can't exactly reach through your screen and force you to, so e-begging's the best I can do. This has been Cheems of Regret. Good luck and Godspeed to all you kings. Signing out.